Welcome to Driven, the Unscripted Success podcast, with your hosts, Mike Menino and Nariman Hamden, bringing you insights and stories on achieving personal, professional, and financial success.
Hey everybody, it's Michael Menino and welcome to Driven Unscripted Success podcast. Today on the podcast, we're interviewing professionals who share their experience with you, the tips and tricks on how they got to where they're at today. And today we have Dillon Rosenthal. He's founder of Bounce Back Pickleball, where they recycle pickleballs. How you doing, Dillon?
Great, thank you. How are we doing?
Awesome. Yeah, we talked a little bit off camera, and it's pretty interesting how I didn't understand the stats of what you're doing. Could you tell everybody, how you got into this and where it's at right now and how you got to where you're at?
Yeah, of course. So, I've been playing pickleball for the last couple of years, and earlier this year, January, February time, I started playing a little more seriously.
Hmm.
And as I started playing more, I started seeing the waste that was kind of getting built up on the local courts. Every time I'd go throw away a water bottle or something, I'd lift up the flap and I'd see broken balls, and I'd even break balls myself. So I did some more research into it, and I saw a couple nonprofit companies in the recycling space, but no one was really doing anything with it. And I noticed that every year 500 million balls were manufactured, which we were just discussing, which is a crazy number. And that creates over 750,000 pounds of waste that just goes to landfills every year directly from pickleball. So we're trying to close the loop in this by kind of remanufacturing old and cracked pickleballs into new ones. Um, and the mission is to take all pickleballs out of landfills.
Well, you're going to save a lot of that's a great mission to have, but it seems a little daunting because there's a lot of them all through the world, actually, right? So not talking about the United States. And you had some success recently with getting people to send you pickleballs, and you're coming from. How do you get them from other states? I mean, you're in Florida, and you're telling me about Costa Rica.
Yeah, so as far as locally in Florida, we're collecting in about 25 facilities. And then as you're saying, we have people that have been reaching out to us, whether it's through our website or through our social media on Instagram, um, from Puerto Rico, California, New York, and they've been asking us to ship us balls. So depending on the facility or depending on the group that's behind it, the board will either discuss to see if they'll pay for the ball, which is obviously our preferred route. Obviously, as we get into our manufacturing and we start seeing profit from our recycled pickleballs, then it's something that we can consider paying for that shipping. But for now, we're trying to have the facilities cover it. We are planning on shipping a bin out to New York, as I was saying, to Central Park Pickleball Group. And that'll be kind of our first test pilot in another state to see how that works and see how that process works. But it's exciting as we expand for sure.
Nice. And you said you got a grant on it too, right?
Yeah, so last semester at school at FGCU, I was awarded $15,000 in funding for winning a innovation challenge competition. And then they sent me to another competition in Orlando, UCF, where I was awarded $5,000 in funding as well. And then through a program at FGCU, I was awarded $3,000 in funding, which was just a semester-long program that they do for all students. It's not really a competition. It's just if you complete the program, you can receive some funding at the end.
That's awesome. Well, it shows you some success, and obviously supported you to go through those programs.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. The funding so far has definitely been able to help me scale.
Hmm.
The cost of the bins it's not small. The bins are 50, $60 each. So having that money and being able to get out there and get to different facilities across the state has definitely been helpful. And it's also helping us in covering costs of our test runs right now, shipping the material, getting it ground up and pulverized, and then obviously the manufacturing cost once it gets to China.
Yeah, you mentioned it. You said it's cheaper to send it to China and bring it back, pulverize it, and then remanufacture and bring it back, correct?
Right. So the logistics of shipping pickleballs is hard because when you're shipping, you pay for volume, and pickleballs are full of air. And when you crush a pickleball, they kind of crush in a saddle type shape. So you can't really stack them on top of each other. So we found the cheapest way to ship them is to get them ground down before we ship them. So I reduced, I would say, a 4 by 4 foot box volume worth of pickleballs to a 20 by 20 inch box of ground up pickleballs.
Oh,
It
there you
makes
go.
about 65 pounds. We're shipping that to Arizona to get pulverized, and it gets ground up locally here in Fort Myers. And then that powder will go to China, and the powder is the kind of base material they use in roto molding. China has all the roto molding machinery, and then they're going to ship the balls back here.
Okay. Is shipping expensive? Because it sounds like
So the shipping to get the
raw
grounds to
material.
Arizona was less than $50. It was like 45 bucks. Not bad. Um, then Arizona to China, I don't know how much that's going to be yet. I'm a little scared about that one. And then from China back to here, it's going to be just over 500 bucks. So this
Okay.
test run is for about 1,000 balls, just under 1,000 balls. It's going to be an expensive test run. We're looking at it as a whole R&D cost. It's proof of concept to see if this whole thing works. It hasn't been done before. No one's ever tried it. So we're really excited to see what kind of comes out of it.
That sounds interesting. I have some friends that do extruded plastics. I'm from Michigan, and we build cars. A
Okay.
lot of your cars are made out of plastics, believe it or not. Plastics or
Yeah.
polymers of some sort. So, I was wondering if you ever tried to consider something in the States. Like, I like the grinding company in Arizona because it's almost centrally located, right?
Hmm.
And if everybody sends them there, and like you said, I like your plan, and it's kind of interesting to see you work this out. Um, if they were to ship it all to Arizona and they grind it up for you, if you found something there, do you ever try Arizona like extruding plants?
As far as molding goes,
Yeah,
so I want to look into US manufacturing as soon as I get the test balls back. The reason I haven't gone as far as US manufacturing right now is because no one in the States has the roto molds for pickleballs. So I'd have to
really.
buy, yeah, well,
Oh, so the actual cast of it would probably be very expensive.
exactly. There are
Oh,
two
okay,
places, but they're linked to big pickleball manufacturers who make pickleballs. And it's a little risky at my stage to go in there and ask them to do some manufacturing for me.
gotcha. All
Um,
right. So you want to keep it in house.
exactly. Exactly.
Nice, nice,
And then
brilliant. I like that.
yeah, the plan once I have the balls back is to kind of bring it to US manufacturers like custom roto molders and see what they can do.
Right, right. Yep, that's a great idea. I like it. So you're trying it out to ship to China, and then later on you're considering the U.S.
Exactly. Yeah.
Perfect, beautiful. Love your plan.
Thank you.
So what is one of the biggest challenges you had to overcome in this?
Honestly, it was very recent. The
Okay, well, then sorry, don't want to relive something that just happened.
no, the pulverizing process has kicked my butt bad.
Really?
Um, I So originally it was supposed to get sent up to New Jersey to a company called Ultra Poly. It might be in Pennsylvania, but the guy who I was supposed to get in contact with never reached out to me. There's a group chat made, never got anywhere. I called him a few times, left a few messages. He never got back. So I then had to go and find a way to pulverize this plastic, and I found the best way to do it is a way called cryogenic milling, which basically it's in the name. It freezes the plastic or the product that you put in there, and then it grinds it up so it doesn't lose any of the properties. It doesn't melt it down, and then you have a powder form that you haven't lost any of the old properties. So I
So
found,
is it powdered?
yeah, it turns out to be a powder.
There you go. That's good. Because then, I mean, I'm assuming that powder's the most density you can get out of anything.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And it's the easiest free flowing form once they melt it down.
Yes, easy. Yep, easier to manufacture too. Yep,
Mhm.
easier to get through their extruders.
Yeah, exactly. So Um, sorry, what was I saying just before that?
What was one of the biggest challenges and how did you overcome it?
Yes, yes,
You kind of
yes. So
explained
sorry.
it a little bit.
So, 27 phone calls later, I got to a guy who does cryogenic milling, and he gave me a $3,500 quote. And I was like, whoa, this is 60 pounds of material. What's going on? And he was like, well, your 60 pounds or 1,000 pounds is going to be the same cost. The cost is in the cleaning of the machine. So I was like, okay, that's not good. Do you have any other suggestions? He said you can try a grain miller. So I ordered a grain miller from Home Depot. It was 150 bucks. 2 weeks later, it came in, didn't work. So
It
I
didn't
just
work on in pickleballs.
no. So I just wasted like 2.5 weeks,
Yeah.
and it took another 45, 50 calls to find this guy in Arizona, called Powder Kings. They make and manufacture milling, and grinding machines. And he's willing to do a test run for me, on the basis that I may potentially be buying a machine from them in the future if this test run goes well.
Awesome.
So
Awesome.
it was a 3, 4 week process to get from plastic grounds in my kitchen, 65 pounds of plastic grounds in my kitchen, to shipping them out to Arizona.
Well, there you go. Yeah, it's going to take time.
Yeah,
It's going to take time. And you're doing something nobody else is doing, right?
exactly. Yeah. Yeah. There's there's two nonprofit companies collecting and recycling pickleballs. One we're partnered with called the Repickle Project. I mentioned them earlier. And then the other is called P3 Cares. No shade to them. I don't really know what they're doing. I've tried to reach out a couple of times. I haven't heard back from them. I think I heard recently from someone that they're just selling their plastic as plastic filament to um, plastic companies, the manufacturing companies. I have had 5 people switch over from recycling with them to recycling with us just because they kind of like our mission more, and I show face on social media, and I kind of show what's up in our process. I'm pretty transparent with what's going on in the business online. And people like that, which is cool. So as far as the recycling side, there are a couple other people doing it. As far as the remanufacturing into new pickleballs, we are the only ones that are doing it.
That's
Um,
awesome.
yeah, so it's cool. We're hoping by the end of the year we'll know if this works. There's no reason why it shouldn't. We've talked
Okay.
to some material scientists, and um, the conversations we've had have shown that it should work. Uh, of course, without testing, we won't know, but
Hmm.
soon to be determined.
Nice. So, what skill or habits do you think don't get enough credit in the contribution to what you're doing?
What habits?
Yeah, I know what it is. I just want you to say it.
Um, I think consistency.
When you told me you made over 70 phone calls, it's
Yeah.
really that, tenacity and tenacity and consistency is really the key to this.
Yeah. I think consistency and taking action.
Hmm.
Like at night, I try to make a to-do list for the next day. And it's just a simple checklist in my notes. I have a planner as well of just like week by week, but each night I'll write a to-do list in my notes, and the next day it just gives me something to like check off of big things that I have to get done per day. Um, and if I don't get something done, it feels like I'm just letting myself down, you know? So keeping consistent and just taking action on things that need to be done is super important. And unfortunately, I kind of see a lack of that around me at school. Um,
Which
which
one?
sucks. What was that?
Which one? Consistency or action?
Action.
Both.
Yeah,
Action.
yeah, action. Like I hear great ideas. I was just downstairs with my roommates, and we found this like little mini boat thing on Temu. They're like 3,500
Yeah, I
bucks.
saw that thing. It's bright
Yeah,
colors like blue or green or something
exactly.
like
Yeah.
that. Yeah, yeah, they're cute.
Yeah. And one of my roommates was like, we should just buy a bunch of them and start renting them on the beach because we live right by the beach in Fort Myers. And I'm like, That's genius. Like
It is.
jet ski rental businesses and these little things would just take over. But I mean, obviously that's a far-fetched plan, but it's just little things like that these everyone has good ideas and people spit things out. But as long as you take action, or as long as you don't take action, is as long as you won't succeed with the idea.
There you go. Exactly. Exactly. I like how you put that. Hey, has there been a book or podcast that really changed your outlook on and approach on this, or your life in general?
Yes. I'm reading a book right now by Mike Evans called Hangry.
Hmm.
And Mike Evans is the CEO of Grubhub. And it's basically a story of his whole journey of Grubhub, and how he worked himself to almost misery, and had to take like a long bike ride across country, Trans Am, after his IPO, and after he kind of sold out. And anyone listening, I recommend you read this book. Mike Evans, the way that he writes it, he kind of puts himself down in some ways, but the lessons I've learned from it so far are pretty invaluable. Even little things like the way that they uh, spilled word of their VC meetings so that it would get out to the other VCs, so that they try to book meetings with them earlier than the other ones. And then there was a bidding battle almost of, I want to book a meeting earlier than this VC. And they ended up meeting at 7 a.m. with a VC they're supposed to meet at 11 a.m. the same day. So it's just kind of little things like that. And he's incredibly consistent. And he was at this for 7 years. He quit his job and was at this for 7 years until he started making the same money he was making in the job that he just quit. So staying at something and being consistent with a dream you have or a mission that you want to kind of take over is incredibly important.
Agreed. Agreed wholeheartedly. Yeah, those those quality. I've been in business for many years, probably longer than you've been alive. And I'm telling you, those are the two probably greatest attributes: consistency and taking action. And if you once you get into that habit, it starts to get into a flow state,
100%.
right?
Yeah.
Um, how do you tackle learning new things? Because you're you're learning a lot. Let's put it that way, especially in stuff that's out of your comfort zone. How do you
Definitely.
handle that? How do you work with that?
Definitely. So as a student, it's interesting. Everyone always tells you learn more in the first 6 months in the workforce than you will in 4 years of college. And it's been 6 months of running this thing, and I think it's true. I think I can say it's true that I've learned more in the last 6 months than I have in the last 3 years in the classroom, in a good way. And the entrepreneurship school at FGCU is great, and I've definitely used a lot of the things I've learned in my startup and the processes that I've been using. Um, but I also learn a lot from failures, and
Mhm.
I think that's something that's incredibly important to kind of any founder, really anyone who wants to grow as a person. You can't look at failures as losses, or kind of let you put yourself down. As I was just saying, example, I waited 2 weeks for that machine and then it didn't work and I was gutted. I was like, oh my God. But then the next day I woke up and I made 50 phone calls to find the next place. So you live and you learn. Um, as far as the actual recycling side and the eco side of this business, I've always been somewhat environmentally conscious, but I've never,
Mhm.
well, to be honest, I've never really been a full-on eco-sustainable guy. Um, but I found this hole in pickleball and found a way to solve it. But learning about the plastics and the recycling and the eco side of this has been so interesting because I didn't know any of it before. And I've sat down with material scientists who, quite honestly, a quarter to a half of the stuff they say I don't understand. I try to have them explain it, but a lot of it is just incredibly comprehensive. And it's very knowledgeable, and I've learned a lot, and I find myself kind of like dorking out on some people when they ask me some questions about, oh, what's this material made out of, this plastic and this plastic. And it's fun and it's really interesting, and I catch myself being like, I would never have known that if I wasn't in this. Um, but it's cool, and I love learning, and I think it's important. It's cliche, but it's important to learn something new every day.
I think that's cliche. I think it is important to learn something every day. And you learn more on your failures than you do on your successes.
100%. Couldn't agree more.
I, uh, I believe it or not, I'm a professional brick breaker and won some championships at the U.S. Open. And the one thing I learned is when I win the first place, I didn't learn anything. When I win second, third, fourth, and fifth, I learned something to beat the
Hmm.
next guy. Now I learned something how to get to the next level. When you win first, you're like, what do I do now?
Yeah,
Right?
exactly. 100%.
How so how do you like pickleball? Now that you're this is
Oh,
kind of interesting because now I like martial arts and I like professional breaking, but once you start doing this, you lose a little bit of the love for the sport.
I can't say I have, honestly.
Good. Good.
It's grown through this, if anything. I've gotten better in the last 6 months. Um,
Nice.
excuse me. I have been playing as much as I can. I kind of find myself only playing when I'm either like dropping a bin off at a facility, or last week I was in Tampa doing a Tampa expansion. I dropped off 8 bins in 8 different facilities. Um, and I played in a couple of them, but kind of outside of like the bounce back world, I don't really get the opportunity to play. But I'm glad I do through this, which is cool.
Well, this is neat. This could be your life's work, and you get to play it too. So you go pick up some balls and then go play some games. That's a cool little concept. I like that.
Exactly. Yeah.
So Dylan, what's on the horizon for you? What's big goals projects you got excited coming up next?
Yeah, well, obviously this test run in China is going to be huge, depending on how
That's
the balls,
interesting.
yeah, depending on how these balls come back is really going to be, I wouldn't say make or break, because there's always more R&D that we can do and testing that we can do on the plastic to see
Mhm.
temperatures that we're molding at, et cetera, et cetera. Um, and there's also always pivot points. But assuming this test run comes back good, we're looking at expansion, find a US manufacturer, start manufacturing these balls and get bins out nationwide. I think in the next sort of 6 months, we definitely plan to have Florida taken over. We plan to go to the other coast once we have these balls back, go to West Palm Beach, Delray, that kind of area, Fort Lauderdale, Miami. That's really like the hot spot of pickleball at the moment. Um,
Really?
yeah, yeah. It transferred from the Naples area. Naples was kind of the pickleball
Yeah,
capital.
that's what I thought. I thought you were in the right spot.
Now it's the Boca, Fort Lauderdale area.
So, do you have any idea how many pickleball centers are in the United States?
Over 70,000. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yep. The majority are between California and Florida.
Mhm.
Um, they're growing everywhere, obviously. Some big states
Yeah.
are Texas, Arizona's big, New York's big, Georgia's growing. But it's on the rise everywhere.
Awesome. Hey, listen, thanks a lot for the interview. I really appreciate it. Wondering if anybody would like to get in touch with you, how would they do that?
Yeah, you can find us on pretty much all social medias. It's at bounceback.pickle. And then our website is just bouncebackpickle.com. If you're looking to recycle in your facility, if you're in Florida or out of state, please get in contact with us through our website. There's a request a bin box on our website. You can see all of our current locations to see if you got a facility near you to start recycling your balls. And I look forward to hearing from anyone that wants to get involved.
All right, Dylan, thank you so much for your time. And do me a favor, everybody out there, like and subscribe to the channel. Really helps out the channel and all the people that we interview. Dylan, thank you very much for your time and have a great time.
Awesome. Thank you, Michael. I appreciate it.
Appreciate you.
Thanks for listening to Driven, the Unscripted Success podcast. Want to share your story? Apply to be a guest at drivensuccesspodcast.com/guest.